Greetings. I have a New Year aspiration that I'd like to share with you. So for 2022, I have one New Year's aspiration that I want to share with you so that potentially throughout the course of the year, you can help hold me accountable to it. We'll see. This also may be an invitation for anyone who may hear this to be inspired to participate. Basically, the New Year aspiration is to eat more light. Maybe I can even broaden that and I can just say lighten up. But specifically this year, I'm aspiring to eat more light. And this language was inspired by Matthias de Stefano. If you are not aware of his teachings and his journey, you might want to take a look at him. Just search for Matthias de Stefano on YouTube and you'll find something. But he used those words as a suggestion for those of us who are participating in sort of the global awakening. He suggested that we eat more light. And the idea is that fruits and vegetables that receive light from the sun are rich with light, that they have that light within them, that they're programmed with the information from the sun. And that same energy is what activates the higher chakras. So the ajna and the head center, the crown chakra, this stuff up here receives some benefit from that light. And so I want to do that. Let me back up and say I've always been fairly aware of how I nourish my body and careful with my diet. But in the past, especially as a young man, I was very sort of obsessed with going into the gym and putting on muscle mass and lifting a lot of heavy weight. And so commensurate with that, I have developed the habit of eating a good amount of sort of heavy protein so that I can build muscle. So a lot of fish, a lot of chicken, along with vegetables. But I'm noticing as I'm getting older that the heavier foods, the root vegetables and the meats, are less and less necessary. I'm still lifting weights and doing some cardio just as an exercise routine, a practice. But it's not like I'm still trying to get bigger. In fact, it might be okay if I lose a little weight. So I've been perpetuating some old eating habits that may or may not be serving me as I go forward. So all of this is kind of in the back of my mind as I announce this aspiration to eat more light. And so in order to do that, there are just a few specific things that I'm focusing on that I hope to accomplish in terms of like actually making this a tangible goal, something that can be realized. The first is to reduce the distance between the distance and the amount of time between the harvest of fruits and vegetables and my consumption of them. So that's a complicated way of saying I'm hoping to first purchase more fresh fruits and vegetables, and that includes going to the farmer's market, which I actually haven't ever been to locally here. Makes no sense that I wouldn't have been there. And then also buying more fresh and organic produce from our local health food store. And then the next layer is that I'm going to plant a garden. I've said that in previous years. I've been interested in doing it for a very long time. But this year, I'm making this commitment to do it. And I'm announcing it to the whole world so that this is really the accountability that I'm asking for. Is like when I actually get out into nature and start working the soil and putting the plants and seeds in the ground, then maybe I can follow up with you and show you the progress of it. along with that, in order to make sure that I sort of stick with, because there, as we all know, there is an emotional dimension to nourishment and to eating. And one way that I've found to overcome the desire to not eat fruits and vegetables is to make sure that I have creative ways of preparing them. So I'm going to find some good vegetarian and vegan, maybe recipe books, and explore the Google and the YouTube and see if I can hook up with some of those chefs and those that live authentically, that express and share great, cool, interesting, delicious ways of preparing their fruits and vegetables. So that's it. There are some other things that I'm hoping to accomplish this year, but I don't like to. Obviously, I'm using the word aspiration instead of resolution. I like the idea that this is a gentle intention, but it is something I've been wanting to do, that I aspire to. And maybe, as I said, this is inspiring anyone who may watch this to join me in participating in this. It's a fairly easy one to accomplish. I mean, even without the idea of planting the garden, just minor adjustments to your grocery list, your shopping routines, even when you go for takeout, like just making an adjustment to what you might order. I had an old bodybuilding coach once that kept us to a fairly strict diet of protein and vegetables, and he said, you can eat all of these kinds of vegetables that you want, especially the leafy green vegetables and the fibrous beans and that kind of stuff. You can eat all of those things you want. They can't make you fat. So, and I really do always feel better when I eat lots of light. Okay, so thank you for tuning in to hear this proclamation of my aspiration, and I guess I better sign off of this LightCast episode for today and go out and maybe start turning some dirt. Thanks very much. See you next time.